Hello. Now, I sometimes get a bit of flack for always having a pop at Labour, and people say, why is it always you having a go at Labour? And it's like, well, because they're always doing something absolutely ridiculous. I mean, not a day goes by where they don't do something and you look at them and go, for God's sake, how, I mean, we know more people voted to not have you, but we're still stuck with you, and you are just ludicrous. But there is a new award, the new Chocolate Teapot Award, to two different political parties today. And these are the Lib Dems and the Greens. And when you hear this, I mean, you may well be screaming at whatever device you watch this on. I was incandescent with rage for the reason, well, for a start, it's Rutland County Council, which is literally, I can see it out my window. Well, I can't see the county council, I can see the county of Rutland. And the arrogance, hypocrisy, and downright stupidity of this decision beggars belief. So Rutland County Council they've got the highest rate of council tax, smallest county in the world. They've put their council tax up by 2% this year because they had a £46.6 million deficit. Smallest county, like tiny. And so if you live in Rutland, your council tax has gone up by 2%. They are trying to raise revenue on parking for an extra £250,000 a year. So effectively, they've put the parking up in the county and probably found new places to charge for parking. Nobody's really getting any value for money in Rutland. I mean, it's not as bad as Birmingham. Bins are being emptied every once in a blue moon. But they're not getting a huge amount of value for their extra 2%. And then this cash-strapped county council have just advertised two new positions. You wait till you hear what they are. So the first one is a communications officer just for transport. Now, is that buses? Is that, well, it can't be trains because there aren't any trains there. Is it taxis? What is that? Just for transport is a communications officer who may work from home. So not a communications officer for the whole of the council, just for transport. They can work from home on 32 grand a year. Yes, I mean, I might apply. I've got a background in journalism. I'm a journalist. I can do your communications. 32 grand to sit at home to do a bit of communication for the smallest county in the UK on their transport, which is about the size of my snug. Yep, I'm in. I can do that for you. But the second role, and this is the bit where you go, oh my God, what is the matter with you? So the next role is their EDI advisor. EDI is Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Officer. Now, this role gets a little bit more money. So this role is clearly more important than the communications role. This is £41,500 working from home. And the job description? Implement the council's EDI strategy, tackle unlawful discrimination, harassment, victimisation, and work on enhancing equality of opportunity between people who share and people who do not share a relevant protected characteristic. What? What is that? What exactly is that? I mean, that to me sounds like the EDI officer can go in and just make it up themselves. They can make up their job role and they can get £41,500 a year at home for it. But here's the thing. So this is a cash-strapped council. This is the one that's just put its council tax up by 2% and is charging more for parking. It's also the council that said no to rejuvenating the local sports centre. Now, we all know how important sports centres are. They are the linchpin of communities. But this council said no, they would not resurrect the sports centre because it would mean they would have to cut the climate change and flood officer roles. So an entire community could have a sports centre that they could use children. I mean, everyone could use it. You don't need to explain to you how sports centres work. We all know. But in Rutland County Council, you can't have it because if you do, it means they'd have to get rid of the climate change and flood officer roles. But we can have a communications officer for just transport in the smallest county in the UK, or we can have some vague EDI officer, both of whom work from home and both of whom earn in excess together of 60-odd thousand pounds. Now, someone clever has worked out what that would mean. Well, that would fill 576 potholes. It would pay for 2 classroom assistants, teaching assistants, and it would buy 4 unmarked police cars. Or it would open the sports centre. But no, no, no. Rutland County Council, who are now the laughingstock of the UK, the Lib Dems and the Greens, have decided that they're not going to open the sports centre. They're going to charge you more to park there. They're going to slam your council tax up for 2%. And instead they're going to have a transport communications officer and an EDI officer. I mean, I assume this is under Rachel Reeves's sort of water cooler censorship thing in the office, part of her employment laws. Who the hell knows what it's for? But that's what they are spaffing your 2% on. Now, it will come as no surprise that the locals are not overly pleased with this. In fact, furious comes quite close. So what will we see the Lib Dems and the Greens do? Will they listen? Will they do a U-turn? I mean, they just need to look at Keir Starmer to know how to do that, because he's doing them left, right and centre, although not necessarily on all the things that matter, but, you know, just follow the leader. Or will they stick firm and fill these roles and not open the sports centre? It's up for them to decide, isn't it? But I can tell you what, in how to win friends and influence people, this is not the way to do it.